You thought RV life meant freedom? Not anymore. Today's RVers are getting fined, kicked out, and even banned, all because of rules no one talks about. These laws, these campground expectations, this toxic pressure, it's quietly destroying what RV life used to be. And the worst part, you could be next, without even knowing it. Let's get rolling. A controversial policy is sweeping across American campgrounds, and it's sparking heated debates in the RV community. The 10-year rule is simple but harsh. If your RV is older than 10 years, you could be turned away regardless of its condition. What started at luxury RV resorts to maintain an upscale image has now spread to everyday campgrounds, leaving many travelers frustrated and excluded. The rule doesn't consider whether your older RV is spotless, well-maintained, or mechanically sound. Age alone determines your welcome. This policy hits hardest where it hurts most: retirees stretching fixed incomes, working families, and full-time travelers who've invested in quality older rigs are being shut out of places they visited for years. With new RVs costing $70,000 or more, replacing a perfectly good older unit every decade simply isn't realistic for most people. The enforcement is maddeningly inconsistent too. Some parks require photo submissions for manager approval of older RVs, while others maintain strict no-exceptions policies. This subjective application feels arbitrary and unfair to many RVers. Critics call it RV age discrimination and disguised classism, judging people by their equipment's birthday rather than their character or behavior. The irony? Many older, well-built RVs are higher quality than today's mass-produced alternatives. Before booking any campground, ask about age restrictions up front. Your decade-old, pristine RV might face an unwelcome surprise at check-in, even at parks that once embraced all travelers with open arms. A troubling trend is spreading across America's campgrounds: explicit bans on full-time RVers. Even with empty sites and eager customers, park owners are increasingly turning away people based solely on their lifestyle choice. The motivation is image over income. Many campgrounds want to project a vacation resort atmosphere, rather than accommodate the growing community of road-dwelling retirees, remote workers, and nomadic families. The result? Arbitrary 14-day or 21-day limits that force constant movement, regardless of guest behavior. This policy punishes people for how they live, not what they do. Respectful, paying full-timers who maintain their sites and follow rules are being lumped together with problem guests and treated as threats to campground reputation. Some park owners cite concerns about zoning complications or tax implications if guests stay too long. Others simply don't want the perceived stigma of permanent residence, even when those residents are model campers paying full rates. The irony is striking. Full-time RVers often provide steady, year-round revenue that many campgrounds desperately need. They're typically experienced campers who know proper etiquette and take care of facilities, yet they're being systematically excluded from a lifestyle supposedly built on freedom and mobility. This quiet discrimination creates real hardship, forcing unnecessary relocations, increasing travel costs, and adding stress to people who chose RV life for its simplicity. As this trend grows, the welcoming spirit of the camping community is being replaced by exclusionary policies that benefit no one. Boondocking, camping off-grid on free public lands, has long been the backbone of affordable RV life. But a growing wave of no-generator use restrictions is quietly shutting out the very people who need it most. Originally designed to reduce noise and protect wildlife, these bans are now spreading to remote areas where they create impossible situations. RVers without expensive solar arrays or lithium battery systems are left unable to power basic necessities like refrigeration, medical equipment, or cooling fans in extreme heat. The enforcement is getting aggressive too. Rangers now patrol remote campsites at night, issuing citations for generator use even where no hookups exist and no alternatives are available. Some areas have shrunk generator hours to tiny 2-hour windows that barely allow battery charging, let alone running essential appliances. While solar power sounds like the obvious solution, it's not realistic for everyone. Quality solar setups cost thousands of dollars, money many budget campers simply don't have. Plus, solar fails in shaded campsites during storms, or in winter conditions when power needs are highest. This creates a cruel irony. The quiet hours, meant to preserve nature's peace, are actually pricing out working-class families, retirees on fixed incomes, and people with disabilities who rely on powered medical devices. Meanwhile, wealthy RVers with $20,000 solar systems camp comfortably nearby. What was once the last truly affordable refuge for full-time travelers is becoming another exclusive club. Boondocking is transforming from a symbol of freedom into a privilege reserved for those who can afford the latest off-grid technology. You pull into a beautiful RV resort with your kids, excited for a family adventure, only to hear those crushing words, "Sorry, we don't allow children here." This isn't a hypothetical nightmare. It's happening across America as more campgrounds adopt age-restricted policies. While some openly advertise as 55 plus only, others quietly exclude families through buried restrictions and unwelcoming attitudes. The discrimination goes beyond outright bans. Many parks that technically allow children impose suffocating rules that make families feel unwanted. No bikes, no outdoor toys, no loud voices, and restricted access to common areas. For full-time RV families, including those homeschooling on the road, these policies essentially ban their entire lifestyle. What makes this especially painful is how it fractures a community built on shared adventure and freedom. RVers once bonded over campfires and travel stories, regardless of age. Now families find themselves relegated to second-class status, treated as noisemakers rather than fellow travelers. Often these policies stem from perception rather than problems. A few complaints about children playing, and park owners make sweeping decisions that punish every family. The irony? Many RV kids are exceptionally well-behaved, having learned respect and responsibility from constant travel. The message these restrictions send is devastating. If you travel with kids, go somewhere else. In a lifestyle supposedly celebrating freedom and exploration, families are being systematically excluded from places that once welcomed everyone with open arms. The RV community is losing something precious, its inclusive spirit, one adults-only policy at a time. If you travel with a larger dog, prepare for disappointment. A growing number of RV parks now enforce strict pet weight limits, typically banning any dog over 25 pounds, regardless of behavior, training, or temperament. This quiet discrimination hits responsible pet owners hardest. Your perfectly trained golden retriever, who's never caused a problem, can be denied entry simply for weighing more than a cocker spaniel. Meanwhile, poorly behaved smaller dogs get a free pass based on size alone. These policies often hide in booking fine print or get casually mentioned during check-in, leaving travelers scrambling for alternatives. When confronted, park owners typically cite insurance concerns or guest complaints, despite many problems actually stemming from smaller, less controlled pets. The impact goes beyond inconvenience. This rule disproportionately affects solo travelers, veterans, and full-time RVers who depend on larger dogs for security, emotional support, or legitimate service work. For many, their dog isn't just a pet, it's family, protection, and sometimes medical necessity. Some parks pile on additional restrictions, banning pets from grassy areas, common spaces, or trails. Owners are told to confine animals to their RVs, even in dangerous heat. These policies judge animals by appearance rather than behavior, pushing countless good pet owners to society's margins. The message is clear: you must choose between your lifestyle and your loyal companion. In a community supposedly built on freedom and acceptance, breed discrimination and weight limits are forcing heartbreaking decisions that no pet owner should face. The golden age of spontaneous RV travel is dying. You used to be able to drive until you were tired, spot a welcoming campground, and simply pull in for the night. Those carefree days are rapidly disappearing as parks nationwide adopt strict reservation-only policies. Even public campgrounds are joining this trend, forcing travelers into rigid online booking systems. You can't call ahead, you can't negotiate at the gate. If you didn't reserve days or weeks in advance, you're simply turned away. The most frustrating part? Many of these parks will reject walk-ins while half their sites sit empty. This shift toward mandatory planning destroys the very freedom that draws people to RV life. Full-time travelers, weekend adventurers, and retirees who hit the road to escape rigid schedules now find themselves trapped in complicated booking systems and inflexible itineraries. The financial burden adds insult to injury. Third-party booking platforms pile on processing fees and service charges, making an already expensive lifestyle even costlier. What used to be a simple transaction, showing up and paying, now involves multiple fees just to secure a spot. Walk-in guests were once a normal part of campground culture, often filling sites that would otherwise remain empty. Now they're treated as inconveniences rather than welcome travelers with money to spend. For a community built on freedom and spontaneity, this represents a fundamental cultural shift. The spirit of adventure is being replaced by spreadsheets and advanced planning, turning the open road into just another bureaucratic maze. Pulling into a campground with your RV and a second vehicle used to be completely normal, whether you're a full-timer with a tow car, a family with an extra vehicle, or someone hauling motorcycles or toys. But a frustrating new restriction is spreading. Only one vehicle per site, no exceptions. Even when your truck and trailer fit perfectly on the designated pad without blocking anything, many parks now force you to park your second vehicle elsewhere or pay hefty additional fees. These charges range from $5 to $20 per night, turning what should be a standard setup into an unexpected upcharge. The policy affects everyone: motorhome owners towing SUVs, families arriving with a second car, and RVers traveling with motorcycles or bike racks. It doesn't matter if your vehicles fit neatly within your site boundaries. Parks are making it a revenue opportunity. Adding insult to injury, the alternative parking areas are often poorly located, unlit, and unsecured. You're forced to leave your vehicle far from your campsite, creating security concerns and requiring long walks just to access your own property. This isn't about managing limited space. It's about profit and control. Parks are monetizing services that were previously included, while RVers get stuck with surprise fees and logistical headaches. For travelers who depend on multiple vehicles for their lifestyle, whether for work, family needs, or recreational gear, this restriction creates unnecessary complications and costs. Once again, campgrounds are prioritizing revenue over the practical needs of their guests, turning standard RV setups into cash grabs. For decades, America's public lands offered RVers something precious: genuine freedom. BLM areas and national forests provided wide-open spaces, star-filled nights, and affordable solitude that made full-time RV life possible. But even these last refugees are now under siege by increasingly strict enforcement. The 14-day stay limit isn't new, but the aggressive enforcement is. Rangers now actively patrol with license plate databases, GPS tracking, and even drone surveillance to catch overstayers, issuing citations for violations of even a single day. What was once loosely monitored has become a militarized operation. The restrictions go beyond simple time limits. In many districts, you can't just move a mile down the road. You must leave entire ranger zones, sometimes traveling 25 miles or more before you can return. For RVers on tight budgets, limited mobility, or those who've found a perfect spot, this constant forced migration is devastating. This rule, originally designed to prevent illegal squatting and protect resources, now feels like punishment for law-abiding nomads who simply want to enjoy public lands longer. The enforcement often targets respectful campers who leave no trace while ignoring actual problem sites. Meanwhile, more areas are shifting to permit-only systems or seasonal closures, shrinking available boondocking spots. The dream of affordable, accessible public land camping is disappearing as bureaucracy replaces the welcoming spirit these lands once embodied. The message is clear. Even on land supposedly held for the people, you're no longer truly welcome to stay. When your house breaks, you call a repair person. But when your house has wheels and you're parked in a campground, you might be told that fixing it is against the rules, even in your own paid campsite. A troubling policy is spreading across RV parks. No outside repairs or mobile technicians allowed on site. Whether it's a leaky faucet, broken slide out, or failed air conditioner, many urgent RV issues can't wait weeks for resolution. Yet instead of accommodating necessary repairs, campgrounds are blocking them entirely. The restrictions often extend beyond professional services. Some parks won't even allow you to work on your own RV with basic hand tools. Need to replace a water pump or swap out a light fixture? Caught doing basic maintenance? You could face warnings or eviction. Park managers typically cite insurance liability, noise concerns, or visual disturbance as justification. But the real-world impact is devastating for full-time RVers who depend on their rigs as permanent homes. Mobile repair technicians, a lifeline for the RV community, are blocked from providing essential services, forcing small problems to become expensive emergencies. This creates impossible choices: sneak repairs and risk eviction, pack up a broken RV and limp to distant mechanics, or simply suffer with malfunctioning systems in your living space. RV life already involves enough mechanical challenges without campgrounds actively preventing solutions. When parks ban the basic act of maintaining your home, it's no longer about safety or tranquility. It's about control over people's most fundamental needs. We all understand the need for quiet hours. Nobody wants to camp next to a party zone. But what happens when quiet time starts before you've even finished grilling dinner? A growing number of RV parks now enforce quiet hours as early as 7 p.m., turning evening relaxation into a whispered, tiptoed routine. Under these rules, you can't play soft music, have conversations around the fire, let kids play outside, or even watch outdoor movies without risking risking complaints. This isn't about maintaining reasonable peace, it's about over-policing normal camping behavior. These ultra-early quiet hours often stem from complaints by full-time park residents or 55-plus retirees who expect hotel-level silence. But campgrounds aren't hotels. They're supposed to be places where people gather, unwind, and connect with nature and each other. The policy is especially brutal for families, working professionals, and travelers who arrive after long days on the road. Many RVers don't even reach their destination until evening, only to discover they must unhitch and set up in complete silence to avoid being reported to management. Some parks escalate enforcement with written citations or eviction threats for minor violations, creating a culture of fear where campers spend more energy monitoring their volume than enjoying their surroundings. Reasonable quiet hours serve an important purpose, but when enforced too early and too strictly, they destroy the communal spirit that makes RV camping special, the gathering, storytelling, and memory-making that happens around evening fires. Because let's be honest, 7 p.m. isn't quiet time, it's campfire time. For full-time RVers and long-distance travelers, receiving mail on the road is already complicated. Many depend on campgrounds to accept essential deliveries, prescriptions, RV parts, groceries, or work supplies. But a new policy is turning this basic service into another revenue stream, charging $5 per package just to accept your mail. That's right, some campgrounds now charge $3, $5, or even $10 per box simply to receive and hold deliveries, even for small Amazon packages or padded envelopes. The justification: staff time, storage space, and liability concerns. While this might seem reasonable for massive resorts handling hundreds of packages, even small parks with empty front desks are jumping on this fee bandwagon. The restrictions don't stop at charges. Some parks refuse oversized items completely, others only accept deliveries during specific hours, and a few ban all mail services entirely. This forces travelers to hunt down Amazon lockers or drive to distant post offices, often defeating the purpose of staying at that campground. For full-timers, digital nomads, and seasonal workers, this isn't just inconvenient, it disrupts basic daily life. Delayed medications, lost repair parts, and rerouted supplies are becoming routine headaches that add stress and expense to road life. This policy transforms something as fundamental as receiving mail into a premium service. It's another example of how the RV lifestyle, once celebrated for its simplicity, is becoming a maze of nickel and dime charges that punish people for living differently. What used to be a courtesy is now a profit center, making even basic mail delivery another financial burden for travelers. These rules aren't just inconveniences. Think you can park your RV overnight anywhere vehicles are allowed? Think again. Across America, cities and towns are quietly enacting local ordinances that ban overnight RV parking, often without clear signage to warn you. The consequences are real: $250 fines, middle-of-the-night police visits, or even having your RV towed. These laws target vehicles based on size, type, and how long you stay. Even a few hours of sleep can be considered illegal camping. The problem extends beyond busy cities. Tourist-heavy small towns are cracking down to prevent congestion and discourage full-time RVers from settling in. Code enforcement officers patrol regularly, citing violators whether they're in stealth setups on quiet residential streets or parked in seemingly harmless public lots. What makes this particularly frustrating is the inconsistency. You might legally park in one town, then drive 5 miles and face a hefty fine for the same behavior. These local ordinances vary dramatically, creating a patchwork of confusing regulations. Research municipal codes before you arrive, and use apps like Campendium or iOverlander to get real-time reports from other RVers about parking experiences. These tools can help you identify truly safe spots and avoid costly surprises. The days of winging it with overnight RV parking are over. A little preparation can save you hundreds of dollars and a lot of stress. Many RVers discover this harsh reality too late. Numerous private RV parks across America enforce a strict 10-year rule that can bar entry to any recreational vehicle older than a decade, regardless of its condition. This isn't government regulation, it's private property policy with full legal backing. Campgrounds operating as businesses can set appearance and age standards for vehicles, just like any private establishment can control who enters their premises. The enforcement is getting tougher in 2025. Some parks now require photos before accepting reservations. Others simply turn you away at the gate, potentially leaving you scrambling for alternative accommodations in unfamiliar territory. The legal consequences are real. If you refuse to leave after being denied entry, you could face trespassing charges. Some RVers have been fined or had their vehicles towed for ignoring park policies. This rule particularly impacts full-timers, budget-conscious travelers, and retirees who often own older but well-maintained rigs. As upscale RV resorts expand in popular tourist destinations, these age restrictions are becoming increasingly common. Your protection strategy is simple but essential. Always verify park policies before booking. If your RV is over 10 years old, maintain current photos and detailed maintenance records to demonstrate its excellent condition. Some parks will make exceptions for obviously well-kept older units. Don't let this rule catch you off guard. A few minutes of research can prevent a costly, stressful surprise that could derail your entire trip. America's most stunning RV destinations often hide expensive traps, strict vehicle length restrictions that can turn your dream drive into a legal nightmare. Exceed these restrictions, even by inches, and you could face fines up to $1,000, forced detours, or citations on treacherous mountain roads with nowhere to turn around. These limits exist for safety. Tight switchbacks, low-clearance tunnels, blind corners, and dangerous drop-offs make oversized vehicles genuinely hazardous. But the warning signs aren't always obvious, and standard GPS apps routinely route RVers into violations because they don't account for vehicle size. The enforcement is real. At Zion National Park, oversized rigs must pay special escort fees just to navigate certain tunnels, and skipping this requirement means legal trouble. Park rangers and local authorities don't negotiate, and "I didn't know" won't protect you from hefty fines. Your defense requires preparation. Know your exact rig measurements, including tow vehicles, bike racks, and any rear-mounted equipment. Authorities measure precisely. Research routes beforehand using RV-specific navigation apps like RV Life, Copilot, or Garmin that account for vehicle dimensions. Don't let breathtaking scenery blind you to expensive restrictions. A few minutes of route planning can save you thousands in fines and prevent dangerous situations on roads never designed for oversized vehicles. Running your RV generator might seem like a basic right, but strict time restrictions across public lands can lead to hefty fines and camping bans if you're not careful. Most state parks, national forests, and BLM lands enforce quiet hours that typically prohibit generator use from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., though exact times vary by location. Break these rules and you're looking at fines ranging from $100 to $500, plus potential eviction from your campsite. The real trap? Many boondocking spots don't post obvious signs. These restrictions are often buried in regional ordinances or dispersed camping guidelines that most RVers never read. Rangers and enforcement officers have full legal authority to issue citations on the spot for violations. As off-grid camping grows more popular, some areas are becoming even stricter to preserve natural quiet for wildlife and other campers. Repeated violations can get you permanently banned from returning to popular BLM-managed areas or dispersed camping zones. Your protection strategy starts with research. Always check site-specific quiet hours before arriving. Invest in solar panels or lithium battery systems when possible to reduce generator dependence. If you must use a generator, choose quieter inverter models that produce less noise pollution. Never assume no one is around means you're safe to run equipment during restricted hours. Enforcement officers patrol regularly, even in remote areas. Generators are valuable tools, but misusing them can cost you both money and future access to your favorite camping spots. While most RVers religiously check bridge heights, weight restrictions remain a dangerous blind spot that can trigger massive fines, criminal charges, or financial disaster. Across America's rural backroads, scenic byways, and small-town bridges, legally enforced gross vehicle weight restrictions, GVWR, apply to all vehicles, including yours. These limits typically range from 6,000 to 20,000 pounds, and many Class A motorhomes or heavy tow setups easily exceed these thresholds. The consequences extend far beyond simple traffic tickets. Violating posted weight limits can result in fines from $250 to over $1,000. But the real financial nightmare begins if your rig damages infrastructure. You could be held personally responsible for bridge repairs, culvert replacement, or road surface restoration, costs that often reach tens of thousands of dollars. In some states, exceeding weight limits can trigger criminal charges for reckless operation or neglect of traffic control devices, adding misdemeanor convictions to your record. The enforcement is getting more aggressive. Many states now operate portable weigh stations and conduct surprise spot checks, particularly targeting RVs on scenic routes where violations are common. Your protection requires knowing your exact GVWR and combined towing weight. Use RV-specific GPS systems with weight routing filters that avoid restricted roads entirely. Watch for yellow diamond warning signs indicating weight limits, and never assume that seeing other RVs means the route is legal. One wrong turn down a restricted road can cost thousands in fines, repairs, or legal fees, or leave you stranded with no legal way forward. Most RVers know never to dump black tank waste illegally, but many don't realize that gray water violations can be just as expensive and legally serious. Releasing gray water, even seemingly harmless soapy water from sinks or showers, onto the ground, into storm drains, or anywhere in the environment is illegal in most states and counties. Fines range from $100 to over $2,000, with some jurisdictions treating it as serious environmental contamination. The violations often happen during extended boondocking or stealth camping. RVers assume that since gray water doesn't smell like sewage, it's safe to let it trickle out slowly. But legally, there's little distinction. Discharging anything from your RV onto public or private land without authorization constitutes illegal dumping. Enforcement is particularly aggressive on BLM land, near waterways, and within city limits where environmental sensitivity is high. Rangers and local law enforcement regularly patrol these areas, issuing tickets and potentially banning violators from future land use. Your compliance strategy is straightforward. Use legal dump stations for all wastewater, invest in portable gray tanks for extended boondocking, and never dump within 200 feet of natural water sources. Don't let "it's just water" thinking cost you thousands in fines or permanent bans from your favorite camping areas. The law treats all RV waste discharge seriously, regardless of its appearance or smell. Owning property doesn't automatically give you the right to live in your RV full-time. Across America, local zoning laws frequently prohibit using recreational vehicles as permanent residences, even on land you own, and violations can trigger hefty fines, forced evictions, or property liens. These restrictions stem from building codes and residential zoning ordinances that classify RVs as temporary dwellings, not permanent housing. Municipalities require full-time residences to meet structural and safety standards like proper foundations, insulation, fire exits, and approved sewage systems that RVs can't satisfy. Most counties limit RV stays to 14 to 30 days within 60 to 90-day periods, treating longer occupancy as illegal permanent residence. Code enforcement officers and neighbor complaints often trigger investigations, especially when they notice utility hookups or obvious long-term setups. Living off-grid can compound legal problems if it violates local health codes, particularly when you're not connected to approved septic or water systems. Some jurisdictions penalize alternative living arrangements regardless of environmental impact. The legal landscape varies dramatically. Neighboring counties within the same state often have completely different rules, making compliance challenging for RV owners. Your protection requires thorough research before settling anywhere. Check county zoning laws and RV residency regulations, never assume rural property equals legal living, and obtain permits for extended stays where available. Don't let zoning ignorance cost you thousands in legal fees or force you to abandon your RV lifestyle. One misunderstood ordinance can destroy your housing plans and financial security. The assumption that public land equals free camping is becoming dangerously outdated. In 2025, many BLM areas, national forests, and state recreation zones now require special permits for overnight stays, and the enforcement is getting aggressive. These permit-required zones aren't always gated or clearly marked. You might drive miles down remote dirt roads, park at what appears to be an open campsite, and unknowingly violate permit requirements. Rangers and enforcement officers routinely patrol these areas, issuing citations from $100 to $500 for unpermitted camping. Popular dispersed camping states like Arizona, Utah, and Colorado have tightened rules due to overcrowding, environmental damage, and trash problems at previously free sites. While many permits are inexpensive, sometimes just $10 to $20, displaying them is mandatory, and violations carry the same penalties regardless of cost. The enforcement method is evolving too. Many districts now use QR code signs, online-only permit systems, or require stops at ranger stations located miles from actual campsites. Some areas expect you to research and obtain permits before arrival with no on-site assistance available. Legal ignorance provides no protection once a citation is issued. Officers don't negotiate, and "I didn't see a sign" won't reduce your fine. Your defense requires proactive research. Check local BLM field office websites and National Forest District pages before traveling. Search specifically for dispersed camping permit, plus your destination. Always verify requirements and print permits before heading into remote areas. Don't let free camping assumptions cost you hundreds in unexpected fines. Installing aftermarket window tinting on your RV for privacy and temperature control seems like a smart upgrade, until you discover that state tint laws can turn your investment into expensive legal trouble. Window tint regulations vary dramatically across states, with fines ranging from $100 to over $500 for violations. Each state sets specific visible light transmission (VLT) requirements, the percentage of light that must pass through your windows. California requires 70% VLT on front side windows, while Florida allows as low as 28%. Some states regulate only front windshields and driver windows, while others apply rules to all windows except rear ones. The enforcement trap catches many RVers off guard. If your RV is registered in a lenient state but you're traveling through a stricter one, you can still be cited. Police officers enforce local laws regardless of where your vehicle is registered or where the tint was installed. Reflective or mirrored tints, popular on RVs for heat reduction, are prohibited in many states and often attract unwanted law enforcement attention, especially in border regions with heightened patrol activity. Your protection strategy requires knowing your tint's exact VLT rating. Ask your installer or use a light meter to verify. Keep tint certificates if your state requires them, and consider rolling down windows during traffic stops to avoid triggering suspicion. Don't let window tinting designed to improve your RV experience become a costly legal headache. Research destination state requirements before traveling and ensure your tint meets the strictest standards you'll encounter. Rest areas might seem like perfect overnight RV stops, free, convenient, and accessible, but treating them like campgrounds can trigger fines, middle-of-the-night police visits, and permanent bans. Most states enforce strict time limits for rest area parking, typically ranging from 8 to 24 hours. Texas, Georgia, and Washington often limit stays to 8 to 12 hours, while Florida and Oregon allow up to 24 hours. But time limits are just the beginning of potential violations. Many states prohibit camping behavior even during legal parking windows. This includes extending slide-outs, setting up chairs, running generators, or using outdoor equipment. In some jurisdictions, simply sleeping inside your RV at a rest area constitutes illegal overnight camping on state property. The enforcement varies wildly. Some rest stops are actively patrolled, others rarely checked. But if you're reported by other travelers or draw attention with obvious camping setups, Highway Patrol can issue fines from $50 to $300, force immediate departure, or ban you from future use of state rest areas. The rules aren't consistently posted, and they vary not only by state but sometimes by individual rest stop, making compliance challenging for travelers. Your protection requires checking official state DOT websites for specific rest area regulations before stopping. Keep a low profile by avoiding any camping equipment, keeping slide-outs retracted, and treating rest areas exactly as intended, for rest, not residence. Use rest stops for quick naps or necessary breaks, but find proper campgrounds for extended stays. Legally carrying firearms for RV protection seems straightforward until you cross state lines, where your concealed carry permit might become worthless and your legal gun could trigger felony charges. Gun laws vary drastically between states, and what's perfectly legal in your home state may constitute serious crimes elsewhere. States like California, New York, New Jersey, and Illinois have strict transport laws that often don't recognize out-of-state permits. Simply having a loaded weapon in your RV, even locked away, can result in unlawful possession charges. The consequences are severe: fines, firearm confiscation, arrest, and criminal charges that permanently damage your record. These aren't minor traffic violations. They're serious felonies that can destroy your life. Federal law provides limited protection through the Firearm Owners Protection Act, FOPA, but only for travelers passing through states under strict conditions. Firearms must be unloaded, locked in compartments separate from ammunition, and you must travel continuously without unnecessary stops. Stopping overnight at campgrounds or even extended gas stops in restrictive states can void this protection entirely. Your compliance strategy requires researching every state's firearm transport laws before crossing borders. Use proper legal storage, locked cases, unloaded weapons, and separately stored ammunition. Never rely solely on your home state's carry permit for legal protection in other jurisdictions. Even routine RV trips can become legal nightmares when firearms are involved. Know the specific laws for every state on your route, or risk losing your gun, your RV, and potentially your freedom to criminal prosecution. Those extra-wide, conveniently located RV sites that seem perfect for your rig might be illegal to occupy, and the fines can reach $1,000 for a single violation. ADA-compliant parking spaces and campsites are legally reserved for individuals with disabilities, and using them without proper authorization constitutes a serious offense in most states. These spots are often attractive to RVers because they feature wider pads, level ground, and close restroom access, exactly what larger rigs need. But federal ADA laws require campgrounds at state parks, national parks, and municipal RV facilities to reserve designated spaces for disabled visitors. Even if these sites appear empty or underused, occupying them without a valid handicap placard or license plate can trigger immediate fines ranging from $500 to $1,000, plus forced removal by park staff or law enforcement. Enforcement is increasing. Rangers now routinely scan license plates and check for visible placards to verify ADA access rights. The "I didn't know" defense provides no legal protection. If the site displays blue lines, signage, or ADA indicators, you're responsible for understanding and respecting those designations. Your compliance is straightforward. Avoid any space marked with ADA indicators. Never assume "first come, first served" applies to accessible sites. And if you have a qualifying disability, ensure your placard is visible and current. Don't let the appeal of a premium campsite location cost you hundreds in fines and damage your reputation with park management. Respect ADA spaces. They serve essential needs for travelers with disabilities. Most campgrounds enforce strict quiet hours, typically from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., and violating them is the fastest way to get ejected from your site. These rules aren't suggestions. They're essential for maintaining peace so everyone can sleep and enjoy nature. Campground hosts take noise violations seriously because one loud group can ruin the experience for dozens of other campers. Whether it's blaring music, screaming kids, loud TVs, or rumbling generators, excessive noise shows complete disrespect for your fellow campers. Noise complaints are among the top reasons rangers get called to sites, and even first-time offenders can be asked to pack up immediately, especially when alcohol is involved. The solution is simple. Check the posted quiet hours when you arrive. Most campgrounds display these times prominently at entrances or registration desks. Use headphones for entertainment, keep campfire conversations low, and be discreet when arriving late or leaving early. Generators need special attention. Even quiet inverter models can be disruptive after dark, which is why many campgrounds ban generator use entirely during certain hours. In today's world of van lifers and RV enthusiasts, remember that campgrounds are shared spaces. Respecting quiet hours isn't just about following rules. It's about being a considerate neighbor. Fail to understand this basic courtesy, and you might find yourself scrambling to find a parking lot at 1 a.m. because you've been kicked out of your paid campsite. Nothing will get you ejected from a campground faster than dumping your RV tanks in the wrong place. This isn't just disrespectful, it's a serious health hazard and often a criminal offense that can result in hefty fines and permanent bans. Many campers mistakenly think gray water from sinks and showers is harmless, but it contains soap, food particles, grease, and bacteria that contaminate soil and attract wildlife. Black water dumping is inexcusable. Sewage must only go in designated dump stations or sewer hookups. Don't assume you won't get caught. Campgrounds increasingly use security cameras, and fellow campers readily report violations. One complaint or visual confirmation can lead to immediate eviction, fines, and a permanent ban from the facility. Improper waste dumping also damages relationships with landowners and municipalities, especially in national forests and boondocking areas. Your irresponsible behavior can trigger closures and stricter regulations that hurt the entire camping community. Always locate dump stations before setting up camp. Carry extra waste capacity for dry camping situations. And when in doubt, ask campground staff for guidance. If you're unsure about proper procedures, it's better to ask questions than face consequences. One illegal dump can undo months of responsible camping and potentially close entire areas for everyone. Respect the land and fellow campers by keeping your waste management clean, legal, and responsible. Your camping privileges depend on it. Taking over multiple campsites or spreading your belongings beyond your assigned space is a surefire way to get kicked out and create unnecessary conflict with fellow campers. Campgrounds have specific boundaries for good reason. Limited space and high demand require everyone to respect their designated area. Your picnic table, fire ring, awning, and slide-outs must stay within your sight lines. Extending awnings into neighboring spaces, parking extra vehicles across boundaries, tying clotheslines to others' trees, or spreading tarps beyond your area will quickly generate complaints from neighbors and campground hosts. This problem intensifies during busy weekends when campgrounds reach full capacity. Picture arriving at your reserved site only to find someone's grill, chairs, or kids' toys scattered across your paid space. That's guaranteed conflict and grounds for immediate eviction. Even unintentional encroachment causes problems. RV owners often forget how far their awnings extend or how wide their slide-outs open. Always assess your setup carefully, especially when sites are close together. Never assume an empty neighboring site is available for your use. That spot might be reserved for late arrivals who won't appreciate finding your hammock in their fire ring or your gear on their picnic table. The solution is simple. Stay within your boundaries. Take time during setup to ensure all your equipment, vehicles, and belongings remain on your designated site. Respecting others' space prevents drama, complaints, and the embarrassment of being asked to pack up and leave. Speeding through campgrounds is one of the most dangerous and foolish ways to get ejected from your site. Most campgrounds enforce strict speed limits of 5 to 10 miles per hour, and violating them can result in immediate removal without refund. You're not driving through an empty parking lot. You're navigating a temporary neighborhood filled with children on bikes, unleashed pets, pedestrians heading to restrooms, and RVers maneuvering large vehicles. When you speed through these areas, you become an immediate threat to everyone's safety. Campground hosts and fellow campers don't tolerate reckless driving. They will report speeders without hesitation, especially since excessive speed often kicks up dust and gravel that damages neighboring property and equipment. The physics of camping vehicles make speeding particularly dangerous. Large RVs and trailers require significantly more stopping distance, even at 15 miles per hour. Combined with narrow roads, blind corners, and children playing between campsites, a moment's inattention can lead to tragedy. Several campgrounds nationwide have permanently banned guests following vehicle-related incidents, even near misses that didn't result in actual contact. The liability concerns are too serious for campground operators to ignore repeat offenders. Most facilities enforce speed limits strictly, often giving just one warning before ejection. Some don't offer warnings at all. One reported violation can mean immediate departure with no refund. Remember, you're camping to relax and enjoy nature. Slow down, observe your surroundings, and respect the safety of your temporary neighbors. Your patience could prevent a tragedy. Leaving trash around your campsite is one of the laziest and most guaranteed ways to get kicked out of any campground. Poor waste management creates serious problems that campground operators won't tolerate. Trash attracts dangerous wildlife, including bears, raccoons, coyotes, and rodents, who can smell food scraps from great distances. Once animals associate campsites with easy meals, everyone becomes at risk. Many campgrounds have been forced to euthanize habituated animals due to camper carelessness, a tragic consequence of simple negligence. Whether it's soda cans in fire pits, greasy plates left on tables, or garbage bags sitting out overnight, your mess becomes everyone's problem. Nobody wants to arrive at their reserved site only to find beer bottles, cigarette butts, or rotting food scraps waiting for them. Campground staff may overlook minor oversights, but obvious neglect or abuse results in immediate ejection without second chances. Some facilities have zero-tolerance policies for trash violations. Prevent problems by locating trash and recycling bins when you arrive. Double bag waste if it's staying overnight, and never burn garbage, especially plastics or cans, in fire pits. Even micro trash like bottle caps, twist ties, or food wrappers counts as littering. The golden rule is simple. Leave your site cleaner than you found it. This isn't just good etiquette, it's often a posted requirement with real consequences. Fail to manage your waste properly, and you'll be packing up early, taking all your trash with you. Cutting down trees or limbs in campgrounds is one of the most reckless mistakes a camper can make. This destructive behavior is illegal, dangerous, and will result in immediate ejection, often accompanied by hefty fines or vandalism charges. Campground trees aren't just decoration, they provide essential shade, windbreaks, and ecosystem support that maintains the area's long-term health. Many are protected species or decades-old specimens that took years to mature. When campers arrive with hatchets or chainsaws to harvest free firewood, they're committing environmental vandalism. Most campgrounds strictly prohibit collecting wood on site. Even dead branches on the ground are often protected because they serve as natural mulch and wildlife habitat. Cutting branches for marshmallow sticks, trimming for better views, or clearing space for RV setup without permission will trigger immediate consequences. Beyond environmental damage, tree cutting creates serious safety hazards. Falling branches, improperly felled trees, and the presence of axes or chainsaws make other campers feel unsafe. Rangers and camp hosts who witness unauthorized cutting typically issue immediate eviction notices and citations. For firewood needs, purchase wood locally or from campground stores. Many facilities sell pre-cut, bagged firewood that's safe and helps prevent spreading destructive pests like emerald ash borer between regions. The message is clear: respect the natural environment that makes camping enjoyable. Treat the campground like your personal logging operation, and you'll likely be packing up before sunset with a citation in hand. Letting your dog or cat roam freely in campgrounds might seem innocent, but it's a guaranteed way to create problems and get kicked out. Campgrounds aren't dog parks, and ignoring leash policies leads to immediate consequences. Most facilities enforce strict leash rules because unleashed pets create multiple hazards. They can start fights with other animals, chase local wildlife, get lost, or suffer injuries. Free-roaming pets also jump on strangers, knock over children, or relieve themselves on neighboring sites, all situations that generate complaints and tension. Excessive barking ranks among the top reasons campground hosts intervene. Dogs left alone that bark continuously disturb the peace and ruin other campers' experiences. Most hosts issue one warning before ejection on the second offense. Even friendly pets pose problems when unleashed. Other campers can't assess your animal's temperament, making unleashed pets unpredictable liabilities. Some guests have allergies, phobias, or their own pets that don't interact well with yours. Legal concerns also drive strict enforcement. If your pet bites someone, even during play, serious consequences follow, and campgrounds want no part of that liability. Always keep pets leashed, clean up waste immediately, and never leave them unattended outdoors. Bring tie-out cables or secure crates when necessary. If designated dog runs exist, use them while respecting posted guidelines. Your pet is essentially a guest. Treat them accordingly. Fail to control your animal properly, and both of you will be asked to leave, potentially without refund. A cozy campfire creates perfect camping memories, but lighting one where it's prohibited can result in immediate ejection, hefty fines, or even criminal charges. Campgrounds enforce strict fire rules based on local conditions, wind levels, and official burn bans. These aren't suggestions, they're safety requirements designed to prevent wildfires, property damage, and injuries. Lighting any fire during posted burn bans, even in designated fire rings, risks instant eviction and potential legal consequences. Starting fires outside designated pits is equally dangerous and irresponsible. Building your own fire ring, digging makeshift pits, or creating bonfire-sized blazes can scorch underground tree roots, ignite surrounding vegetation, and cause permanent landscape damage. Flying embers travel surprising distances and can ignite dry grass, leaves, or neighboring equipment. Unattended fires represent serious violations that campground hosts won't tolerate. Leaving fires burning while sleeping, hiking, or even using restrooms creates enormous risks. A single wind gust can blow embers into RV awnings, tents, or dried vegetation, potentially starting catastrophic fires. Responsible campers always keep water buckets or fire extinguishers nearby and completely extinguish fires before leaving. Ashes should be cold enough to touch safely. Always read posted fire regulations and ask staff when uncertain. Don't assume recent rain makes fires safe, and never light fires simply because nobody's watching. One poor fire decision can destroy entire campgrounds and surrounding wilderness. The consequences extend far beyond your individual camping experience. Don't be the camper who ruins it for everyone. Enjoying a few drinks around the campfire is perfectly acceptable. Getting loud, obnoxious, or belligerent will get you kicked out immediately. Campgrounds are family-friendly environments where alcohol-fueled disruptions aren't tolerated. When drinking leads to shouting, fighting, wandering through other sites, or breaking campground rules, you become a problem that hosts and law enforcement will address swiftly. Unlike bars with bouncers, campgrounds rely on eviction to handle troublemakers. Alcohol-related incidents rank among the top reasons for camper ejections. Blasting music during quiet hours, getting into arguments, or stumbling into wrong campsites makes everyone uncomfortable and creates safety risks. Many facilities maintain zero-tolerance policies for intoxicated behavior that disturbs the peace. The dangers multiply when combining alcohol with fire handling, driving golf carts, or attempting to move RVs. These situations can escalate beyond simple eviction to arrests or serious injuries that ruin lives. Even harmless drunk behavior can trigger complaints to hosts or rangers. While you might receive one warning, many campgrounds offer no second chances. Refuse to leave when asked, and law enforcement will make that decision for you. Smart campers who want to drink responsibly know their limits, stay within their designated sites, and avoid behavior they wouldn't display in their own neighborhoods. Remember, you're sharing space with families and fellow campers who deserve peaceful enjoyment. The bottom line, drink responsibly or risk immediate ejection, potential legal trouble, and ruined camping experiences for everyone involved. Every campground has specific rules designed to protect the land, ensure safety, and maintain positive experiences for all guests. Ignoring these regulations is a guaranteed path to ejection, regardless of whether you think they're reasonable. Common rules include limits on stay duration, vehicle numbers, pet policies, campfire restrictions, quiet hours, generator use, and approved camping setup. Violating these requirements, especially after being informed at check-in or seeing posted signs, leads to immediate consequences without negotiation. Some campers assume they're safe if not caught immediately, but campground hosts and rangers patrol regularly and often receive tips from other guests. Once you're reported for rule violations, your information gets documented. Continue breaking rules, and you risk being blacklisted from entire park systems. Typical violations include overstaying permitted durations, camping in prohibited zones, bringing banned items like fireworks or glass bottles, or allowing children to roam unattended. Sometimes it's as simple as ignoring trash policies or parking regulations. Claiming ignorance isn't acceptable. Rules are typically posted at entrances, included in check-in materials, or available from staff. When uncertain, ask rangers or hosts. They're there to help prevent problems, not just enforce penalties. Following campground rules demonstrates respect for the land, staff, and fellow campers. It shows you understand that these spaces require cooperation to remain enjoyable for everyone. Disregard the rules, and your camping trip may end much earlier than planned, with no refund and potential bans from future visits. Wandering into restricted campground areas might seem like harmless exploration, but it's a serious violation that can result in immediate eviction, hefty fines, or even criminal trespassing charges. No entry, staff only, and closed for maintenance signs carry legal weight in most public and private parks. Ignoring these warnings isn't just disrespectful, it's often considered criminal trespassing with real consequences. Restricted zones exist for critical safety and environmental reasons. They may contain sensitive wildlife habitats, active construction sites, unstable terrain, or protected ecosystems that require careful management. Other off-limits areas house water treatment facilities, electrical equipment, or waste disposal systems, dangerous locations where unauthorized visitors risk serious injury. Trespassing becomes even more problematic when campers cross onto private property bordering campgrounds. Even without visible fences, crossing property lines can trigger confrontations with landowners or law enforcement visits that escalate quickly. Common violations include hiking off designated trails, flying drones in prohibited airspace, or taking shortcuts through service roads. Some campers sneak into restricted natural hot springs, scenic overlooks, or abandoned structures hoping for social media content, only to face park bans and legal trouble. The solution is straightforward. Respect all posted signs and boundaries. If an area looks appealing but is marked off limits, the risk isn't worth potential consequences. Rangers can usually suggest legal, safe alternatives for exploration. Campgrounds offer plenty of approved areas to explore and enjoy. Don't let one poor decision result in permanent banishment from the entire park system. Illegally hooking into campground utilities is theft, plain and simple. This reckless behavior guarantees immediate eviction, potential fines, and permanent bans from park systems. Some campers mistakenly believe they can borrow power from empty pedestals, tap into water spigots without permission, or share hookups between multiple rigs on single sites. Others run extension cords to neighbors' outlets or connect unauthorized hoses to water sources. All of these actions constitute theft and create serious safety hazards. Campground utilities are carefully metered and regulated. Management pays based on consumption patterns, and unauthorized usage increases operational costs that ultimately affect all campers. Improper electrical connections can overload circuits, blow fuses, and create dangerous conditions for neighboring sites. Water theft carries equally serious consequences, especially in drought-prone regions where usage is strictly monitored. Illegal connections can cause pressure drops, contamination risks, or expensive pipe damage that affects entire campground systems. Don't assume these violations go unnoticed. Campground hosts and maintenance staff regularly inspect utility posts and monitor usage patterns. Unusual consumption spikes or unauthorized connections trigger immediate investigations and reports. The consequences are severe: instant eviction without refunds, permanent facility bans, and potential police involvement for theft charges. Some park systems share violation databases, meaning one offense can result in widespread banishment. If you need utility hookups, pay for appropriate sites that include them. Attempting to steal utilities will cost far more than legitimate campground fees, both financially and in terms of future camping access. One dumb move can end your entire camping trip. The rules are getting stricter, and RV life is paying the price. Have you been warned, searched, or kicked out for something that made no sense? Drop your story in the comments, and stick with us. Because in the next video, even more insane rules are being enforced, and you need to be ready. See you there.